You kind of touched a lot on this, but I'm wondering if you could describe kind of, in a short way, like what does it do to your relationships with other people and also your relationships with yourself, to have this kind of, I don't know if it's a mask or if this thing of I'm good, even when you're all twisted up inside. What does that do to how you relate to other people, and even like how you carry yourself or how you physically feel in your body?
Well, I think really what we're talking about is control. I think one of the things that we often use to like define masculinity, a man, or like being a man, or he is the man, is like control. Like they're in control of themselves, the situation, other people, other people's thinking, other people's bodies, even groups of people. So with that, like a guy, a man is someone who's in control, who has control, who reaches for control. So with that is internal, like I'm good, I'm always good. Like no matter what's happening, I'm in control, I'm fine, even if that's just a wall. So yeah, I mean, if you're saying I'm good even though you're not, where does that take you in your relationships? If you're not good and you're telling people you're fine, and then all of these things are happening, because when you're not good, what starts happening? We start having anger, we start depression, we start using substances, all these things we do when a person is not good. And you'll see a person not being in their not goodness doing these things, but they'll say I'm good. And with that, then we can't get help. Our relationships can't deepen because we don't allow other people to help us and to see what's really going on with us. And that's and I think that's sort of the dead end of like unhealthy masculinity. It kind of forces guys to like walk around like cartoons, like pretending that we're like, I'm good, I'm good, I'm
just
good.
out, yeah.
Even though we're not. So.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to add that I find it really interesting that you guys say that when you guys need to be helped, like you guys are not not being helped. And so a lot of it is also like, I think when when kids are little, for example, and even when they do ask for that help, little boys sometimes when they fall down in the floor and the same thing happens to a girl and everybody comes to the girl and they help her and nurture her, and do everything that they have to do for her. But for the boy, it's always stand up, like you're a boy, boys don't cry. So it's also this idea of like reinforcement, right? So it's not just that they don't provide the help, but also so that even when they're asked for the help, sometimes people, I feel like, stop them from from reaching that. And so you get to one point in which you say, I'm not going to keep asking, because that's going to, if I do, then that people are going to think that I'm not a man, that I'm crying, that I'm sensitive, that I'm all of these things. And, that's far beyond from what you want to see, what you want to be, because at the end of the day, boys, I feel like, always also look up to their father, especially in the Latino and Black community. This idea of like, I want to be like my dad. And, a lot of the masculine examples that we have, unfortunately, are not the most correct one.
I think one of the effects we see of I'm good, of boys don't cry, of mocking boys in pain, think about like, what do we do when we see a guy in pain? We laugh at it, we make fun of it. Even if it's a boy, it's a man, like that's something you make fun of. A guy crying, ugh, gross, and the knock-on effect of that is that we start to see big separations in suicide rates between boys and girls starting in middle school. Like the rates, like they're similar, and then like boys start like harming themselves at a much higher rate, and that continues into life, into adulthood. So toxic, like these unhealthy framings of boys as being control and all of that, like it's bad for other people in all different kinds of ways, and it is so bad for ourselves too.
Yeah.
Can I jump in real quick? Oh.
No, you go ahead. I have been talking a lot.
Man, there were so many points that kept being added that now is like I wanted to talk about because I'm thinking a lot.
You're really excited. You're like,
I was like, I don't even know where to start. But it's like I guess for the middle school and the high school, and bless if college is the additional journey too, because of what we learn in elementary school, what we learn in middle school, what we learn in high school, and then carrying on into college. These are like building blocks in what happens with masculinity and what have you. Like, I was thinking about what Juan was saying about the idea of control, right? And then to go back, so there were certain we were asked about clear and like unclear signs of masculinity. We were talking about control, and then we were talking about things that happen internally with these interactions. And so to kind of put all of those in the pot, like when I think about control and internal reactions, when you're in middle school, I guess more so if you grow up in the hood, there's always kind of masculinity gets to the point where it can be dangerous, right? Where it like threatens your life, because it's like somebody can embarrass you, and now masculinity doesn't allow, when you're embarrassed, control is taken away from you and given to them, right? So now you're like, I need to get that control back. So there's anger, there's anxiety, there's shame, and again, these things, like, they happen, and it's like, not to say like they're unreasonable, but it's like, again, I don't want to like blame children for feeling like shame, anxiety, and those things, because it's like that's what they were taught, you know what I mean? But also the negative effect by that is, you have a child who's thinking, well, how do I get rid of my anxiety? How do I get rid of my shame? How do I get rid of my like embarrassment? I have to take control. And sometimes that happens in a violent way, where it's like, okay, I'm going to meet you at 236 on the corner of 165th, and I'm going to beat you up in front of all these people so they could put it on video and see that I reclaimed my masculinity. I reclaimed control of the situation. Or if anything, I took control away from you. And sometimes it could get even worse, where it leads to like, I'm going to have to kill you. Like, you disrespected me, or you took away my control, or you made me feel like this, so now you got to die. And that, the reason why I include middle school and high school is because that's a reality for middle schoolers too. You know what I mean? I remember going to school in Biswa, and I remember we had a harvest dance. It was probably my senior year, and it had to get shut down because two students were about to get into a fight, and one of them pulled a knife on campus. And my school is a middle school and a high school, so on campus. This is a high school. What am I talking about? But this is a reality for people who are like as young as 11 and as old as 18. And then when you go to college, where is like safer, definitely to go from Biswa to Wheaton, like, is a safer environment for me. But the masculinity still exists when you're at a party and men feel obligated to harass women, and feel obligated to have a dance, and feel obligated to like, I'm gonna have romantic relations with an individual to prove that I'm in control. That because I had relations with 5, 6, 7 women on my campus, I'm in control. I'm the man. And so I say all of that to say that, like, there's definitely internal things that happen that make us think like we have to prove these things, but also like the not checking each other is also kind of like a non-obvious way that we perpetuate toxic masculinity, because it's like, I know it's wrong, but I don't want my own masculinity to be checked, so I'm not going to say anything about it.